Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Selling Gods video. In today's video, I'm going to show you the team that I'm using for the challenge boss Twitch in order to do as much damage as I possibly can, but I'm not using a rally team, because, well, I don't have lots of the important ones, especially like Gillian and stuff. However, I decided to, fight fire with fire, and that is, I'm going to be using a poison team against Twitch boss to get 200 million. So let me show you the team that I'm actually got together. I do want to mention before we jump into it the fact that this is not going to be a free-to-play team by any means, because, well, I'm already doing lots of damage here. You can see the 4 ones that I did. However, for the Twitch one, I was a bit kind of stuck. If we look at the rankings, for example, most of the teams that you're going to see against Twitch use this rally team specifically. Well, I'm missing Huberg, I'm missing Alton, and I'm also missing Gillian, right? That's kind of like what most people are using. And it becomes a little bit more difficult to hit the 200 million by now having a lot of those ones. Like I said, you see same principle over here with Gillian. I do have Laurentiel, right? Filto. I have Filto, I have Laurentiel, but I don't have Huberg, I don't have Alton, so it makes it be a little bit more difficult for me to deal with it, especially by not having this one. So I came up with, just let me see what else I have left. So because I used on my poison team, my, free-to-play-ish team, where I pretty much used 2 rares, 2 epics, and then it was Ogok. For this one, I had left my poison team, right? So I had my poison team, aka my legendaries. So this is the team that I'm using. Like I mentioned, is not free to play by any means. This team is using, all the legendaries that I've left with the poison ones, but they are the ones that actually do AoE damage, so it kind of allows me to get to that 200 million mark. So the team uses Ogok for the healing and obviously the immortality, so it can keep us alive. I'm using Durango as the poisoner and also my witch's remains. Then I'm using Twitch as the main damage dealer, as you're going to see here at the top, because he does AoE damage. He's going to be doing this decent damage. And then I threw together, what's her name? Jathalea and Vikana. Now, I'm not sure that, Jathalea and Vikana are mandatory, as you can see. Maybe you can try and use some other damage dealers. Just, I had them built, I had them as legendaries, I had talents for them. So I said, let me throw them together to try and do as much damage as possible. And like I mentioned, I actually managed to get this one to be 200 million. Now, one of the key things that makes this one be really good and kind of like, allow me to do damage, to do that damage is because, well, 3 of the 4 ones do AoE damage. Vikana, unfortunately, when she does the mark thing, she just targets the one in front. That's why her damage is not going to be as good, but she still does good. However, Durango, Twitch, and Jathalea, they do have AoE damage, so that's gonna give us more damage because of what the boss says over here. If you look at information, right, increases damage dealt by allies AoE skills by 50%, so we do get a bit more damage. However, we also have something that deals with this, right? Hero resist or dispel stacks one stack of debuff, gain 1 stack of damage up. So that 200 mark, you're gonna see that I'm getting close to have it maxed, right? Twitch 188, what's the name? Vikana's over there 200, Dathalea 200. And even Durango's getting 116 plus Ogok is almost maxed. Now, the way that this one's working and the way the reason why it's working is because, well, Ogok, whenever he heals, on his passive says that it dispels 1 debuff, right? Or like dispels debuff. So the fact that he not only brings us survivability, not only does he bring us healing, but he also dispels those poisons, which allows us to stack that attack up on our people. That gives us, up to, what's that, 250% more attack, because it's 0.05, or 100% more attack. My math might not be, the best. I'm still waking up. However, you see that this team is working just fine. Now, one key thing that I noticed that allows me to, survive all the way, in case you don't have the best survivability for somebody like Ogok, is going to be the placement. You see, 205 million, I actually managed to do it. Again, not free to play by any means, or not the easiest to achieve, because I do have 2 inspired legendaries over here and whatnot, but the goal was to hit 200 million, and I did that. Twitch, main damage dealer, he's a beast. But let me show you again the positioning. So the reason I have them placed like this is because of 2 reasons. If I only have it like this, and I have Ogok soaking up all the damage, maybe around the 1 minute mark, he ends up dying. And obviously, if he dies, you're going to stop doing damage. So having Durango over here, he's going to soak up the damage from this Twitch one, and that allows Ogok to take damage from the other two and allow him to survive. Now, another good thing of having Durango over here means he's going to be getting more poisons from the single target attacks from this one, which means his attack is going to be boosted, because otherwise you saw that he jumps over here to fight at the back. If that happens, he's not going to be getting those poison stacks, which means he's not going to have them cleansed, which means he's not going to be getting that attack up. That's really important to keep in mind. Now, the aura that I'm using is his accuracy aura, just to be sure that I land my debuffs, because, you know, resistance doesn't really help me, like, just for Ogok, and that's about it, to, like, kind of get some extra healing from this. Apart from that, you know, accuracy is better. I don't have a better attack one. Maybe, again, maybe I could have looked for somebody from Wildfire that brings me an aura, right? If there was a thing here, I could look for aura, but maybe I could have looked for somebody that, like, okay, who brings me an aura that maybe gives me enlightenment? That might have been a better choice, and then just drops to bring somebody else. But you know what? Like, you know, maybe he could have worked, right? Horace could have worked instead of Vikana, because you saw she doesn't do that much damage. So this is kind of the team that I'm using. Now let's look at the skill timings, because these are really important as well. Everybody's going to be on a 18-second recast, because obviously they're all poison. So with Puppeteer's Inspiration that I'm going to show you I have on one person, it's going to allow me to do in that rotation. So first one's going to be Vikana. She does her ultimate so that she can put Mark. And then after that, for every toxic that gets placed, she can do a little bit more derivative damage. Next one's going to be Jathalea. She does that AoE hit herself, lands some, you know, thorny poisons, whatnot. Then it's going to be Twitch. Sorry, the first one actually in the rotation is Durango, right? He goes one of the first ones. They're like 12 seconds and then every 18 seconds because he's the Witch's Remains. But then you pretty much want like Vikana maybe first, then Durango second, right? So maybe I could do like this, 12.2, because it's kind of like, you know, you want her to land that mark before all the poisons land. But that's the rotation. Then obviously the last one's going to be Ogok. Now Ogok, you want to be at around 13, 13.2, 14, something like that. You don't want to be 13 exactly, because he puts immortality for 5 seconds. And you want this to cover the ultimate hit, because you saw all three of them do that ultimate hit. And if you don't have immortality, like, you know, when you get around the 2 minutes left mark or 1 minute left mark, you're gonna die. But having immortality means you can soak up all the damage as soon as the hits happen. So if you do like I did 13.2, as soon as that ultimate happens, like at 0.2 seconds after, it does a big heal, it does the removal of poisons, and you can keep going in the fight and just, you know, explode that boss. So this is pretty much the rotation. Now let's have a look at the builds and the talents. So first of all, talents, middle side for Ogok, so he does the maximum damage. For Durango, I kind of went down here, but you see I didn't finish it. It's, you know, okay for now. Then when it comes to Vikana, she's on the middle side. Jathalea, again, I still have not done it, so, you know, I could squeeze out maybe some more damage if I was finishing her stuff. Then Twitch, you see at the top, because obviously he's going to be the one doing most of the damage from poison, extending those, and then also, again, more damage from the poison, so this is the one that you want. Now, when we look at the builds, you're going to see, like I mentioned, Durango is going to be in the Witch's Remains, right? He's going to be in the Puppeteer's Inspiration as well. You mostly want to focus on him, accuracy to land his stuff, then some Enlightenment, and then nothing else matters, right? Enlightenment and maybe attack so you can do some more damage, but you definitely want to make sure you have the accuracy that not only can he land the Witch's Remains, but also land his poisons from the ultimate and all the other hits. Then we have Vikana. She's the one that's going to be enabling everybody else with more damage by having the Brotherhood Spirit. She also has the Queen's Fan, but honestly, she barely did any damage, as you notice, so you don't really need this. Whatever other artifact you have, that's what you're going to use. That's Vikana. Then next one, you're going to be seeing Ogok. Ogok, I kind of put in this one from the previous fight, from the one against Tamar, the Power of Tides, because having high resist on him and accuracy and enlightenment, you know, it's a bit difficult. However, because he has accuracy, every time he resists that poison, right, at least every 10 seconds, he can do another 5% heal based off of his max HP, which means he's definitely keeping my team alive. And also gave him the Solar King's Horn because, again, he's going to be healing a ton, which means we should have the 3 stacks of this buff on all the team pretty much all the time. Then we move over to Jathalea. She's wearing Rikir's Boomerang, right? Gives her Enlightenment and all of that. Then she's mostly focused around damage. You see, with Enlightenment, with attack, most of her damage is going to come, again, from Enlightenment, from the attack, and from the thorny poisons that she will land, right? I might be wrong about this, but no, there we go. Poison derivative damage. So again, she's all about derivative damage, so that's what you want to do. Again, make sure you have around 200 accuracy. Pretty much you need 260 total, minus the 50 from the elemental affinity. you need 210. But because I'm using, for example, Durango's lead, means I can drop this instead of being 210, I can do it at like 170, right? Because 40 plus 170 to 10 plus the 50, we get there. And then Twitch, kind of like, you know, MVP, he is wearing the statue of the Serpent Deity. That's why he does a ton of damage, like you noticed. Again, he's full on enlightenment, attacking enlightenment, then enlightenment over here, then accuracy over here. So you can have the accuracy to land our stuff, and then more enlightenment and more accuracy. Maybe this one I could even swap, right? I could even go with the one that gives me more enlightenment, because I kind of put that weapon instead as I need the accuracy. But now, like I said, by having Durango's lead, it should be okay with landing most of the poisons. It's like 150 only with 190, 240. This should be okay. So maybe that's kind of reality. But that's pretty much the team, right? That's pretty much the team that I'm using. That it looks pretty good. It does okay for me. I just wanted to hit another 200 million because, you know, it was it's getting tough, right? It's the last week, is the last couple of days to do this. It's getting hard to hit 200 million on all of them. But this is gonna be the next video I'm gonna do either today or tomorrow. But for the Chrysos challenge boss, I just don't have the team, right? It's just impossible for me to do it. I'm gonna try some things around, but I'm only gonna do around 100 million because I don't have Naschenka, I don't have Star Revolt, so I only have, you know, Evelios and, you know, some of the other ones. So it's a little bit more difficult to do that, but still, I'm trying to do my best and, you know, try and do as much damage as I possibly can. But we're gonna leave it to this for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel to see when I upload next. Also, let me know in the comments down below, how many teams did you manage to get at 200 million or over, because I'm curious to see what the majority of you are doing. Also, let me know, I'll usually know, free to play, spender, low spender, Kraken, just so I have an idea about, you know, what my community has. But yeah, thank you for watching. Gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.